I'm Mary Kevin Gardner, and this is the cow eye dissection. To get started, we have to cut some of the muscle and fat that is around the eye so we can see the structures better. Cut. Actually, a lot of this stuff. So I'm still cutting the fat off the outside. There's a lot of it and you can see it all in here. So we'll be back when I'm done. So I'm still cutting some of the fat, but right here is the optic nerve. And here we have some extrinsic muscle. Once again, this is the optic nerve right here. Okay, so here we have the cornea, and here we have the sclera, this part. Okay, so now I'm going to make an incision into the cornea so the aqueous humor is released. Okay. Great. So now I'm going to cut into the eyeball, into the sclera, and divide the eyeball in half. Still cutting. Okay, so I cut this off, it was all fat, so now we're gonna actually cut into the eyeball. Almost there. Okay, now here's the inside. So the anterior chamber of the cow eye is the space from the iris to the cornea, so it's in the front of the eye. And then here in the middle is the pupil, and around the pupil, the black stuff is the iris. And then here, I've removed it, we have the lens of the cow eye. So here we have the retina, and this is the choroid. Okay, so if you come close, you can see I don't have any help or anything. So the first question says, what happens to the diameter of the right pupil when you briefly shine the flashlight into the right eye? And the pupil shrinks, it constricts, it gets smaller in diameter. Okay, so the next question says, through which structures, openings, and chambers of the eye does the light from the flashlight pass in order to reach the retina? So it starts with the tunica fibrosa layer, which is composed of the sclera and the cornea, and then passes into the vascular layer, which is composed of the pupil and lens, and from the pupil it goes to the lens, and the lens into the tunica interna, which is where the retina is. So for the light to get to the retina, it has to pass first through the anterior chamber and then to the posterior chamber where it will reach the retina. Okay, so the next question says, which structures serve as a sensor and the effector in the pupillary light reflex? So skeletal muscles, extrinsic muscles, and smooth muscles serve as the effectors, and the retina is the receptor. And the receptor means that the retina is the sensor. So the optic nerve is required and the oculomotor nerve is required for the pupillary light reflex. And the optic nerve is part of the afferent pathway and the oculomotor efferent. And then the last question says, what happens to the diameter of the left pupil when you briefly shine the flashlight into the right eye? So if it's working normally, it should shrink and decrease in size and diameter in tandem with the right eye.